reality of how young people are supposed to grow up and support themselves. The fact that after high school you go to college, and the belief that if you work hard and long enough at your 9-to-5 job, you'll be rewarded with the lifestyle of your dreams. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people have yet to experience this freedom and are stuck in a cycle of debt, stress, and disappointment. Rebel millionaires at the cutting edge of every industry. Rather than following the conventional path created centuries ago, these modern-day nonconformists had an idea, trusted their instincts, took a risk, and that risk paid off. Paid off big. Individually and collectively, they are helping to create a paradigm shift of personal consciousness in what is possible for your life today. Authors, inventors, executives, retailers, filmmakers.
As I turned 30, I realized that the American dream takes more than visualization. Therefore, I went on a journey across this great nation to hear the success stories from my generation.
Modern-day radical spirits of business who have built multi-million-dollar companies joined together for the first time with seasoned mentors to explore the secrets of wealth creation, freedom, and success.
Even if it's growing up on the south side of Chicago and making your first million at 14 and being a best-selling author, I'm here to say that it is possible. So please join the Young Entrepreneur Society and make your mark on the world.
The Young Entrepreneur Society.
Time is now to say yes to your success. What are you waiting for?
How's everybody feeling? All right, you still got energy. All right, you're one of the most energetic audiences that I have seen with this much energy today. You're also the only one, but I'll tell you, if you guys have been here, who here has been here for all 4 days? Fantastic. Have a seat feeling great, guys. You guys have deserved it. This is like when you're in the gym. Anybody here go to the gym? It's like when you're in the gym and you're doing a couple reps, you know, you're 6, 7, 8, 9. Anybody ever push for like 10, 11, 12, and you're sitting there and you're sitting there. You know what happens when you're pushing yourself like that? What happens? You grow. You know, there's a lot of other places you guys could be today, right? Anybody have a job that they should be at? A couple of us? Well, fantastic. You've made a conscious decision to invest into somebody, to invest into a person who you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. Anybody have an idea who that is? It's yourself. You've made an investment into yourself, and it's going to pay off. And I'm here over the next 90 minutes to make sure that I can assist you on that. Did you guys like that trailer? Yeah. You know what that was? That was a movie that I made about 2 years ago called The Yes Movie. Has anybody heard of it? Yeah. Not yet. A couple of us have. It's coming to Australia early in 2012, so get ready. It's where I went around the United States and I interviewed about 100 of the most successful self-made multimillionaires and entrepreneur experts. These were kids who are literally, when I was turning 30, I'm 34 today, I heard about these kids who are half my age. By the way, let's see some of the young kids that we have in here. Any youngsters out here? How old are you? 11. Do you have a business yet? Not yet. How old are you? 12. Do you have a business? You do? All right. What is it? You don't know yet? Do you want to have a business? Do you want to have a thriving business? I want to help you with that. Who here are business owners? Just so I know, keep them up high. How many of us here would like to become business owners? Good. You're the right audience for me. So about a few years ago, this is when I had heard about these kids who are half my age. Literally, they were like 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old, and they were making millions and millions of dollars. How much money were they making? Millions and millions of dollars. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was 15, 16 years old, the biggest thing on my mind was, does that girl in class like me? And what my mom was making for dinner. Is that about where you guys were at when you were about 16 years old? So I had been a business person all my life, but I'd heard these stories about these kids, and I became so fascinated. And I started thinking to myself, how does a 14-year-old, that guy that we just saw, he said, whether you're a best-selling author and a millionaire at the age of 14, which he was. He sold his company at age 14 for $1.5 million. I became so fascinated that, quite frankly, I wanted to learn these strategies. I wanted to learn the strategies of today's youngest millionaires, and I wanted to be able to share these strategies with people like yourself. Would you like to hear some of them? Yeah. All right. Well, the first one is take action. You guys took action. You got here. So I want you guys to put your hand up in the air. Ready? And then congratulate yourself. You see, you should really be proud of yourselves because a lot of us, we don't acknowledge how powerful we've been. We don't acknowledge the action that we've taken. Has anybody here ever felt down and out about themselves or about the results at different times? Yeah, listen, it happens to all of us, and we're going to talk a little bit about that over the next hour and a half here. And it happens to all of us. You see, what I want you to do is realize your greatness. I'm here to teach you some accelerated business skills. I'm here to help you turn your passion into profits. I want to teach you and help you do more of what you love and less of what you don't love. Would you guys like that? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know for me, all I want to do is what I want to do. I want to do more of what I want to do and less of what I don't want to do. When I get stuck doing that stuff I don't want to do, I think to myself, how can I stop doing this stuff I don't like to do, and how can I do more of what I want to do? That's what I want to show you guys. You guys ready? Yes. All right. So I want to know, what do you think separates a top entrepreneur from someone who struggles? Let's hear some answers. What do you think? Are they born into the right family? Do they grow up with money? Do they somehow have a fairy come over and give them all the knowledge and pixie dust that's out there? What separates the top people from those that are struggling in business, do you think? Mindset. What else? Hunger, I heard. What else? Leverage. Mentors, absolutely. What else? What is it? Adaptability. Yeah, I would agree with all of these. But see, what I want to do is I want to give you the number one secret to being a top performer. This is whether you're a top performer in athletics, you're a top performer in business, you're a top performer, quite frankly, with your family, and you're getting the results that you want. Who here would like to hear the number one secret of being a top performer? All right. Now, if I told you the number one secret to being a top performer and you knew that it worked for you, would you try it on? Would you consider using it? Yeah. All right. Here it is. Now, it's took me probably about I'm 34 today. It took me about 26 years to learn this secret. And it took me a whole lot of not doing this till it finally kind of smacked me dab in the face where I realized, Lewis, it's about time that you learn this thing. Here it is. It's to be here now. Now, by a show of hands, how many people are here? Keep them up. Keep them up. Keep them up. Keep them up. It's not everybody. All right, you can put them down. Now, listen. How many of you are actually here now, right now, physically, but mentally, you're thinking about what you're going to do tonight? Thinking about what your boss is thinking of you being here. Maybe you're thinking about what you missed out on if you were at home. Now, see, what's really great about you guys in this audience, because I know that you've been here for a very long time, the last 4 days, and this is like that 11th, this is that 12th rep where you're really going to get some results here. See, I know that you're present. You're here in the present moment. But how many times do you guys find people, like they go to do something, but they're just checked out? Like, listen, when you show up to work and you're just not all there. You know, they're dreaming of something else. Does that happen? Well, let me tell you something. If you're trying to do one of these things that they've been showing you over the last few days, trying to trade stock or make an investment or do something that you know is going to make a difference in your life, if you're checked out and you're there physically but you're not mentally there, you think you run the possibility of losing a lot of money? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I have found over the course of my life, and I've made it a study for my life, because what I enjoy doing is talking about success. What I enjoy doing is networking with other entrepreneurs. What I enjoy doing is traveling and meeting other people who are lit up about what they do. You see, I love being around passionate people. I love being around people who are excited about their business opportunities. See, I came from an environment, I'll tell you a little bit more about my story, but I couldn't stand being around people that couldn't stand being around other people. Like, these are the kind of people that were just, oh, that's not for us, and I can't have that, and you'll never amount to this. Does anybody have those people in their life? Yeah, a couple of us do, and it's really unfortunate when it's the person that you see in the mirror. See, what I want to do is at least start making some internal shifts for you to where you'll start to recognize that inspired people begin to inspire people. And if you realize that everything that you want is just beyond your reach inside of someone else, and you find it in yourself first, and then you can bring it out of that person. See, if you're selling a product, if you're selling a service, you've got to first believe in that product or service yourself first. And then you can convey that opportunity, that idea, that product, or that service to somebody else. So I want to give you the tools and the strategies to where you can immediately reach down and dig out what you need in the moment when it's most available to you. So when you're not feeling good, when you're not feeling excited, when you don't believe that you can have what it is that you want in your business, out of your career, out of your life, you can actually begin to turn things around. And how that begins is starting to get present, to stay here in the moment. I want you to repeat after me. Where focus goes, energy flows. Where focus goes, energy flows. So whatever it is that you focus on expands and it becomes your reality. The challenge is that not all of us are focusing on the end prize, the end result. We're focusing on all the things that we don't want. We're focusing on all the reasons why we can't be successful. We're focusing on all the lack, the pain, the things that are holding us back from being successful. If you keep focusing on these things, is that going to wake you up and motivate you to get excited to move into the day? No. I want you to focus on the prize, what it is that you're working for, what it is that gets you up out of bed every morning. Because if you begin focusing on the things that you do want, you'll start to notice the things that you already have, and you'll begin to notice the things that start to motivate you, to start to make you feel good about what it is that you're working for. So all I want you to do is to be here now. Do we have you guys here now? Yes. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, hopefully you guys, relationally, it's just about being in the present moment. I've studied entrepreneurs from all over the world, and no matter how we see a lot of them, they might have a million things going on. Well, they're so just out there. When they need to focus in the present moment, they have an ability to turn off their cell phone. They have an ability to shut the door. They have an ability and focus on the task at hand. Can I get you guys in that place for the next few minutes? Yes. I think I already got you there, don't I? Yep. Fantastic. So where are your thoughts? What are you guys thinking about right now? You see, what I have found is that the majority of business people, they're looking at the past. They're looking at all the reasons, all the things in the past that have happened to them, and they're not focusing on that big prize, that big picture, the thing that they're working for, whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's being with their family, whether it's traveling, regardless of what it is, they're looking at all the reasons why they can't have something. You see, what if I had a timeline here? Imagine if I had a timeline and this represented the past, right? And then if you go through time, we'll say that this represents the present. Right here is the present moment. Now, over here represents the future. Most people that I come across the world, what are most of their conversations about? Are most people talking about the house that they're building, the company that they're building, the dreams that they have, all the things that they're working for, all the things that they're making and in the midst of creating? Are they talking about all those things? Most people? Most people aren't. Maybe most people in this room are, but what are most people? Just conversations in general. They're talking about the reasons why they can't have it and all the reasons why they haven't came from this place and how it's not for them. You see, most people are going through their timeline like this. They're going into their future, but they're focusing on what? Their past. So they're thinking about, well, this is the way that things have always been. This is the way that things will always be. I keep focusing on my past, and this is how I've always had things, and I'm going into my future, and all I'm ever experiencing is my what? And they're bringing into their, yeah. Now, it's maybe more likely that they're walking around like this. Anybody see people going through life like this? Like they're trying to live powerfully into that future. that future that they want to create for themselves, that thing that they want to have for themselves, that business that they want. And they're like, yeah, I can see it, I can have it. But they're carrying this thing around. Anybody know anybody carrying a chair around? No, it's not necessarily a chair. A chair is a metaphor for your baggage, for the things that are holding you back from being extraordinary, from being successful. You see, the place that I want to get you to is merely moving from here into here. I want to get you to stand powerfully in the present moment. I want to get you to a place. Are there any Deepak Chopra fans out there? A couple of us? Deepak Chopra is this spiritual guru, and he says, when you live into infinite possibilities of the future. Anybody ever hear that? He says, the infinite possibilities of the future. What's in the future? Infinite possibilities. Does that mean that you could be the next millionaire in the next 12 months? Yes, that's what infinite possibilities are. Does that mean that because you've never made $1 million in a year that it's not going to happen? Absolutely not. That's not infinite possibilities. That's being held back by the constraints of the past. You see, that's the place that the most successful entrepreneurs from all around the world, they live in. They have an ability when they realize that they're stuck in the past, that they can powerfully snap into the present moment and say, it doesn't matter that it's never happened. A little bit about me. I'm from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in the United States. Please don't hold it against me. I know I speak with an accent, so I hope that everyone can understand me here. I grew up in a regular family. My father owned a little small pharmacy, and I had to work in that business every single day after school. Boy, did I hate it. I couldn't wait. I mean, every single day, every single weekend, I'm cleaning shelves and stocking merchandise, and all I wanted to do is get away from there. I didn't want to keep going to that place, but I had to go to that place. It was what we did. So I couldn't wait till I was 18 years old. I moved out of the house, and I actually went to university. Now, my motto in university was C's get degrees. Now, I don't know if you guys know, in the United States, does anybody know what the C average is? What is it? It's the worst thing that you could do without failing. Yeah, it's like barely getting by. But what I realized is in university, you can just barely get by and have a good time with your mates, having a great time, and you still get a college degree. I was like, all right. Because nobody, I can tell you this, nobody has ever asked me what my grade point average was, how well I did in school when I got out of school. I didn't want to go to university. But my father actually paid for it, one of the very few things that he did pay for, and I'm extraordinarily grateful for, and I took advantage of the opportunity. You see, all I wanted to do was get out there and build a business. All I wanted to do was get out into the real world. So what I did was I moved to New York City. Anybody here been to New York City? Yeah, it's the hustle and bustle. It's the rat race, they call it. Because I thought that that's where you make the most amount of money. And I got a job. I was selling telecommunication services. And I'll never forget, my boss, he said, Louis, you want to make $100,000 this year? I said, yes, sir. What do I do? And I had my little notebook. He says, you go out there, and he points to New York City. We're on like the 27th floor. It's my first time wearing a suit and tie. And he says, you go out there and you introduce yourself to 50 people every single day, and you tell them what you do. I said, okay, introduce myself to 50 people every day, tell them what I do. And then he's looking at me. And he's looking at me, I'm looking at him. And he's like, what are you waiting for? I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't have business cards, I didn't have brochures, I didn't have any training. He goes, get out of the office right now and go talk to 50 people. Anybody ever have something called on-the-job training? That was on-the-job training. Has anybody ever cold called before? Yeah, a couple of us. Those who know, we put our hands up. It's not the easiest thing to do in the world, especially when you do it in New York City. What do you think when you walk up to 20 strangers or 50 strangers every single day in their office in New York City? What do you think most people are thinking when they try, and I was looking to sell them a product or service? What do you think that they were thinking at the time? Get out! Yeah, get out of here. Not interested, not interested, not interested. I was selling telecom services, phone and internet service back in 1999 to businesses. Now, I had no training. So I'll never forget the first day I got home or in the office at the end of the day, and we had this big board. We had a big board that showed what everybody's results were. And then there'd be people who were like making all this money, and then there'd be people who were not making a lot of money, and they made it very public in front of everybody. Do you think I wanted to be like the people who are making money or not making money? Making money. So what do you think I did? Yeah, all I did was go up to them and say, hey, I see that you're making all this money every single day, every single week, every single month, and your name keeps appearing at the top of the board. What are you doing differently than most people? And it was funny that this person basically told me everything that he does, and it was everything that I thought was what we should do, which was really nothing more than get up off our butt, leave the office at 8 a.m., and go talk to 50 people every single day. And he said, make sure in the beginning that you're talking to enough people, and then you're going to build a pipeline, and then you're going to be able to filter out the people who are not interested, and then you'll find people who are interested, and then you can build a referral network. And I was like, that's it? He's like, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I was like, all right. After about 2 years with this company, I became the number 4 salesperson out of over 2,000 salespeople. And at age 23, they moved me to Tampa, Florida to open up my own sales office. And this was really the beginning of me realizing success at a young age. I had sold well over $1 million worth of telecom services in 2 years, and it was something that not a lot of people in the company were doing. And I opened up my own sales office. You see, I wasn't stuck in the past. You see, what a lot of people were doing on that job, a lot of people were saying, well, we don't have this, and it's because of this. And they were looking at me, well, it's because you have this, and you've done this. You see, what I was looking at was this place. What is that called? Future. The future. I was projecting myself into the future, how much money I could make, the kind of lifestyle I could live, what I could be, do, and have as a result of doing all these things. What do they call the CEO? Or what do they call someone like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates? Like when they look off into the future, what do they call them? Visionaries. We have any visionaries in the room here? Where are my visionaries? What do visionaries do? Dream big. Dream big. Who here has a big dream? All right, almost everybody. You see, the challenge is with most people is that something happens, and all of a sudden, what happens to that dream? Whoosh. It dies. They lose it. They forget about how important that big vision is, that lifestyle, spending time with the family, with the kids, whatever it is. Today, I run 2 companies. One is an entrepreneur training company, and I have an outsourcing company. I outsource administrative type work through the Philippines. And I have the ability to travel all over the world. I don't know that if I ever thought that that was possible in my teenage years or in my young 20s, but one time I heard in my early 20s, someone said, wouldn't it be great if instead of saving up all my money for an entire year and then travel for 1 week or maybe 2 weeks of the year, I could travel the entire year and make money while I'm traveling? Someone said that to me, and now I can tell you that I live that. Is there anybody else who would want to do that? I want to show you how. It begins with having a compelling future. It begins by knowing what you want. It begins by becoming that visionary and having that mental picture. I want to help you create that mental picture and then living into that mental picture until living into it is actually living it. Would that be good? Yes or yes? Yes. All right. So what I want to do is raise your awareness. I want to raise your awareness. My training, I've got 2 different types of training. The first level of training that I put people through is called the Ultimate Freedom Experience. And it really deals with the internal game. It deals with your mindset. It deals with your beliefs. It deals with your paradigms of what you think is possible. Do you remember Jamie talking about that over the first couple days? Yeah. Do you know that that stuff is important? Yeah. Is there anybody here who believes that studying the psychology of success is just as important as studying the success itself? It's just as important. Learning the stories, being around people. I'll never forget a colleague of mine. She was telling a story about how she kept trying to get time with Steve Jobs. And all she wanted to do was just meet him and ask him a couple questions. And she kept mailing him, literally sending him a package in the mail, requesting time, sending him letters, calling his office. And after, I think it was like the 20th time of sending him packages, finally someone from his office calls up, her name is Christine Comerford, who's a colleague of mine, calls her up and says, Steve Jobs will talk to you. And he says, all right, what do you want? You keep calling my office. She was what? She was persistence, and persistence pays. I promise you that. So she's calling up the office, and she says, I just want to get 5 minutes of your time and ask you a few questions. And he says, all right, says the date and time, and then hangs up the phone. Before she could even say thank you, he had hung up already. So she shows up, and she brings one of these old egg timers. You guys remember these egg timers, the kitchen timers? So she shows up, she says, Steve, you give me 5 minutes. I know that I'll be respectful. I want to respect that and take just the 5 minutes. So she turns on the egg timer, and she said that being around Steve at this time, just to listening to the way that he spoke about the future, about what he was creating, she said that he was talking about the iPad, the iPhone, the iTouch 20 years ago. This was in the 80s. You think Steve Jobs is a visionary? Yes, he is. You know what happened at the 5-minute mark when that egg timer hit the bell? She got up, started packing up her stuff, and Steve Jobs goes, sit down. We're not done. Steve Jobs gave her another 45 minutes. And she said just being around this person, being around the kind of person whose belief, whose mindset, whose vision was all about what he's creating for the future, totally expanded her mindset. Has anybody experienced that before? Just by being around other inspired, motivated people, that it gets them on track? That's why coming to events like this is so important for you guys. That's why being at an event, having people in your life that want you to grow is so important. You see, what I want to do is help expand your levels of awareness. So the first training that I do, called the Ultimate Freedom Experience, is all about expanding your awareness, expanding your consciousness, expanding your beliefs. I want to tell you a story. It was when I was about 15 years old. Anybody here drive a manual stick shift car? Oh, wow. Anybody drive an automatic car? Okay, drive them both, I bet, right. So I'll never forget, I was 15 years old, and I used to love cars. I still do, but I really loved them back then. And I had a friend, he said, hey, you want to drive my car? He was 16 years old, and where I lived in the United States, that was when he could get his license. So when I was 15, I thought, yeah, this is going to be cool. He had a Ford Mustang GT. I'll never forget it. Anybody like Ford Mustangs? A couple of us, yeah? So I remember him getting out of the car, and he's like, go for it. And I remember looking down, and I saw this thing that my mom didn't have in her car. He had this thing that he kept like going like this to. And I thought to myself, ooh, I better not drive his car, because I don't know how to drive a manual stick shift car. Now, was there anybody else at a certain time in their life, like when they didn't know how to drive a manual stick shift car? And then maybe something happened, and all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I don't know how to drive a manual stick shift car. Did that happen to you? Yeah, of course it did. So luckily enough, my father, he owned a manual stick shift car. So what I was able to do was ask my father, hey, Dad, can you teach me how to drive? And does anybody remember when you first drive a manual stick shift car, what happens? Yeah, it stalls out, people are maybe honking behind you, and you're sweating, trying to get the car started again. This all happened to me until the point when I started practicing enough that I could drive a manual stick shift car. And today, I can tell you, I can drive that stick shift car in a way that, I can do it while I'm talking on the cell phone, while I'm playing music, while I'm chewing bubble gum. Sometimes I'm in the other seat and I'm driving this manual stick shift car. Is anybody up to that level of mastery? Yeah, for most of us, you are. Now, why would I tell you this story? Why would this story have any relevance? You're here at the 21st century educational event, and you're here looking to make more money, have more freedom, have more flexibility, create more wealth in your life. Why would that story be so relevant today in your life? What is it?
It's the same principle.
It's the same principle. How specifically?
Like you don't know anything to begin with, and then after doing it, you get better.
Yeah. He said at the beginning, you don't know how to do anything, and then you practice, and then you get better. Would you guys agree with him? Of course. Do you think that Warren Buffett was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and knowing how to buy companies? Of course not. He might have been. He might have been. Or Bill Gates programming computers at age 2. But here's the thing, guys. We're all born. It's an equal playing field when we're all born. We're all born naked, going to the bathroom all over ourselves and crying, aren't we? Who here has kids? Your kids are filled with limitless possibilities. What kind of possibilities? Limitless possibilities. Until they hear, don't do that, don't cross the street, you can't do that, you're not good enough for that, you don't know how to do that. Or they've got the media, or they've got their friends, or they've got their teachers, or they've got all these people in the world telling them what they can't do. And then after a while, they begin to believe them. They begin to believe that they can't do this, they shouldn't do this. What you saw was the preview to the Yes movie. That was a film where we exposed the secrets of today's youngest millionaires, and it's coming out to Australia in the next few months here. Now, all of the people that I interviewed, all of the people that you know who are successful in business, everything that you've done up until this point, at some point in your life, you didn't know how to do it. I want you to know that that's a natural occurrence. That's the natural growth strategy of learning to do anything. So for those of you who are in business, I would suspect that there's an area of growing your business that you don't know how to do yet. What? Internet marketing? What? Expanding my portfolio? What? Putting together a sales team? Putting together whatever it is for you? I want you to know it's just natural. You don't know how to do it? Congratulations. You now have a new awareness that you don't know how to do something. That's not something to get frustrated at. That's not something to get angry at. That's something to celebrate. All right, I realize I don't know how to do something. Yeah, that's a good thing. Because now all you have to do is learn how to do that thing, practice how to do that thing, until you no longer have to think about doing that thing. Has anybody else experienced that? Who's experienced that? Who can share a specific area where they've experienced that in their business before? Who has one? An area where they came up to something, they didn't know how to do it, and all of a sudden they practiced doing it, and all of a sudden they can do it and without even thinking about it. Anybody here build websites? Who builds websites? Do you? Somewhat? Amateurly. Was there ever a point when you were even more amateurly? Totally, right? Yeah, you can grab the mic. So there was a point where you didn't even know you didn't know how to build a website, right? And then now you have somewhat of a skill set to build a website. Slightly. You have somewhat of a slightly skill. How about, are there certain things, certain aspects on building websites that you didn't know how to do, but now you can do it without even thinking about it? Yeah. Yeah, that's all I wanted to ask. I want you to realize wherever you're at in your growth, wherever you're at in fulfilling your end goal, your big vision, your future, your dreams, your desires, the things that you're working for, when you come up to something and you hit a brick wall and you don't feel good about yourself, it's time to celebrate. Yeah. All right, I don't know how to do something. This is terrific. Now, why would I tell you that it's terrific? Why would I tell you it's time to celebrate when you learn that you don't know how to do something? That's it. Because now you have an opportunity to learn. You have an opportunity to grow to where you can break through, and then you can do it unconsciously. All the speakers that you've seen up here that are talking about stock trading and Forex trading and trading currencies on the market, there was a point in their life when they had no idea how to do it. Then they came to a point where, oh, okay, this is interesting. I realize I don't know how to do it, but I want to do it. And then they had to practice doing it to the point now that they don't even have to think about doing it. I want you to think about where you're at in your business, in your career path. Where do you want to break through? I want you to go ahead and write that down for yourself. What's an area right now that you're coming upon that you realize you don't know how to do something, but you're getting ready to break through? I want you to write that down. Who wants to share one of those areas with me? Who's got an area they're looking to break through? What is it?
Social media marketing and copywriting for the squeeze page, as they call it.
Fantastic. What's your name?
John.
John?
Yeah.
Okay, so John said that he's got an area of his business, of his life right now called social media marketing, landing pages, squeeze pages that probably, hey, 10 years ago, John, did you know that you didn't know how to do landing pages?
No.
Okay. Just within the last few days, weeks, months, probably right around this area, are you really like getting to the realization that, hey, I don't know how to do these things, but they're important?
Yes.
Are you getting that point? What I want you to know is you're about to break through to this place. Like there was a point for me just a few years back. I've got over 30 websites that are all up and running, generating revenue online. There was a point for me where I realized I have no idea how to do these landing pages. I've got to capture an email. I've got to have a video there. I've got to start building a database for myself. I've got to lead them into a new offer. Then you're going to have to learn upsells and membership sites and higher ticket price items. These are all things that you're going to have to learn, but you're at a place where you're about to break through and you're in the process of learning and mastering landing pages. Like if 3 months from now, if you learn how to build them or get them built, which is more effective, having someone else build them, do you think life will be good? Yeah, of course it will. So John is like right on the cusp of an area of his business where he just, you need to get them done, but he doesn't know how. Oh, he's breaking through, he's trying, he's doing different things. There's probably an area for all of you. This is a very relevant area because that might be your sticking point. Anybody have a sticking point for more than a couple days, weeks, months, years, and they're just stuck in that area? All you have to do is break through that. And I want to give you some strategies to do that. So I want to know, what do you know? What do you guys know? Who here believes, let's say that this circle represented what they know in their business. What percentage of your business do you think you know? Give me a percentage. Let's hear them. 65. Do I hear 70? 70, 70. Who knows 70? 70. We got 60%. Who knows 50%? 50, 50. Any 45, 35. What other numbers we got? 5%. He knows 5%. Anybody know 10%? 10%? We got 10%? Is that it? Yeah? 10%? 15%? 15%? All right. I say that this is the amount of business, like the percentage of what you know about your business. It's about 5%, maybe a little bit less. This is what you know about your business. Now listen, I'm not pretending to know your business the same way that you do. You know, you might be sitting there saying, Lewis, you're telling me I know next to nothing about my business? I'm just telling you what I know about human nature. You see, there's one thing that I do know, and it's human nature. See, these strategies that I'm going to be talking about, they're consistent with all business. So that's the percentage, which is a very small percentage that I say that you know about your business. Now, what's great about that? What's great is that this is the area that you don't know about your business. Now, hold on a second. You're telling me I know about 5% of my business, and I don't know about another 5%. That doesn't equal up. Down here in Australia, does the whole pie have to equal 100? Yeah, that's what I thought. So what would the rest of this area be? If it wasn't, what is it? What you don't know, you don't know. See, what I want you guys to understand is that very similarly to John, who is right now, he knows a lot about his business. And then all of a sudden he came to this realization that, hey, there's this thing about my business that I don't know. I want to sell my product. I want to sell my service online, but I got these things called landing pages, squeeze pages, optimizing my pay, all these things that I need to learn. There's this whole area of things that he doesn't know. Quick story for you. The year is 2002. I start my first business. This is leaving corporate America after working there for 3 years, and I decide that I'm ready to be an entrepreneur because I was tired of someone telling me what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And I just wanted to show that I can do this on my own. And I've been self-employed ever since. There was a time that I spent 6 months of my life trying to build a website. Now, anybody else in that area where they've been spending months and months and months? Put them up, put them up, put them up. I see you there. Yeah, I spent 6 months, and I would literally spend probably about 6 hours a day trying to build a website. This is back in 2002, right before 2003. And I spent about 6 months trying to build that website. You know, I don't have a picture, but I realized that would be a really great place to put the slide right now of what that website looked like. It was nothing more than a picture of me, my name, and my phone number. That was it. And I probably had invested hundreds of hours just to get to that place. Now, would I have been better investing 6 months of my life to barely learn anything, or spending $500 to pay someone to do a website for me? What do you think? Pay somebody. Absolutely. One of the things that I'm a big proponent for and that we teach throughout our trainings all the time is finding out what your core competencies are, what you do best. Did you know that each and every one of us in this room has a gift, has a characteristic, has an ability that we do better than most people? You know, if you're the computer programmer, you should be programming. If you're the visionary or the salesperson or the marketer, you should be marketing or selling. If you're better at building relationships or structuring deals, then that's what you should be doing. The challenge is that there's a lot of us trying to stick a square peg into a round hole. What I want you to get to the point is realize, what are your strengths? Don't keep looking at what your weaknesses are. Don't keep looking at all the reasons why you can't start the kind of business that you really want to start. Look at what your strengths are. Well, Lewis, my strengths are hanging out with people and making friends and building relationships. Well, that's great. That's what you should build a business based on. Hanging out with people and making friends and building relationships. Don't try and stick that square peg into a round hole. You should build your business based on your natural flow, your natural characteristics. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes. Does it? Yes. Yeah. This is how you're going to make money. And then you build a company around utilizing and leveraging technology and people, finding other people who do the things that you don't do. How many accountants do we have in the room? Okay, there's one of us, two of us. How many people hate accounting? By a show of hands. There's a couple of us. What you want to do is make sure that you have her doing your payroll, have her doing your books, have her or someone like her managing all the things that an accountant would manage. But if you're more of the technical person, you want to do more of the technical stuff. If you're more of the people person, you want to do more of the people kind of stuff in your business. You see, the way that I was brought up was go to school, good grades so you can get into a good university. Get into a good university so you can get a good job. Get a good job so you'll be safe and secure and you won't lose your job for 35 years. And then when you're 65, you can enjoy life. Do they teach something similar here? I couldn't stand that. What I learned after 3 years working in the corporate world was I would rather build a lifestyle and then generate wealth doing what I loved. Anybody else like that concept? Who likes that concept? Build a lifestyle that you love first, figuring out what it is that you love to do, and now let's make money doing what I love. So I can work a 9-hour day if I have to, or a 10 or 12 or 15-hour day, and it doesn't really matter because I can't wait to wake up, and I don't want to go to sleep because I'm doing what I enjoy anyway. That's lifestyle mastery. When you can't tell the difference between someone's work and someone's play. Have you seen people like that before? You don't know if they're working or they're playing. So I want you to know that there is an area, there is a strategy, there is a tool, there is a resource, there is a person, there is a technique, there's a tip, a trick. There is something out there that is just in your blind spot, that is in that area that you haven't seen yet. And with that one tool, if you're a carpenter, it'll take you from nailing nails into the floorboards to taking a nail gun and going poof, 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 where you can accelerate. Do you guys see that, yes or no? How many of you have found your tool gun before? Has anybody found some strategies that catapult them to the next level? That's what I want you to start looking for. I want you to start looking for what's the next strategy that I need to bring my business to the next level. That's the area that you don't know. John, our friend, luckily enough, he knows where he's at. He just needs to find he needs to learn a way to build these landing pages, or very quickly needs to find someone else that can do them and do them on the fly and do them when the need be and change them when need be. And then you can begin to focus all your energies on other parts of your business. Because you don't want to be like I was, spending 6 months of your life back in 2002, 2003, trying to figure it out. It's worth an extra $500 to have someone else go build that for you, I promise you. Because we need to focus as the business owners, as the CEOs of our life, we need to focus on the big issues. There's too many of us that are majoring in minor issues. I want to repeat that. There's too many of us who are majoring in minor issues. And guess what? We're minoring in what? You should be majoring in major issues. Spend most of your time on your revenue-generating opportunities. Spend most of your time on where your time is most effectively spent. Does that make sense? Yes. What is that area that you don't know about? What is that strategy? Who are you taking advice from? Who do you guys take advice from? Who? Your wife. Is that good or bad? Okay. No comment, right? Who else do we take advice from? Accountants. Who else? Mentors, lawyers. You pointing at me? All right, that's a good thing. Here's what I found. Most people take advice from their family, from their friends, from, their community, from the TV. I don't know who they're taking advice from, but you can take advice from people who've only failed before. Does anybody have those people in their life? No, I tried that one time, and no, I don't think you can do that. I tried it, and it didn't work. You guys know people out? Don't try that business. It's not for you. Not going to work. I tried it. Don't worry, I tried it. Doesn't work. You can take advice from people who failed before. Or how about people who never did what you want to do? You know those people? Well, no, that's not going to work. Well, how do you know? Well, I'm an expert. You ever do it? No, but I know everything. Got those people? Yeah, you read it in the newspaper, saw it on television. Do you have those people in your life that are telling you that you can't do something? It's amazing to me how many people who want to go out and give advice like unsolicited, like they go out of their way, it's usually negative advice. Have you ever seen crabs in a bucket? Yeah. What happens when you try and grab one of those crabs out? All the other crabs are trying to pull that other crab down. Those are the people who are going out of their way to tell you that you can't be something, that you can't do something, that you can't have something. Here's who I want you to take advice from: the experts. I'm not talking about men wearing women's wigs. Anybody know who that guy in the middle is? Tim Ferriss. Yeah, it's Tim Ferriss. This is, we were at a Richard Branson charity event a few years back. This is who you want to take advice from. And the other guy is a guy named Larry Benet. These are people that you want to take advice from. Take advice from people who've been there. Take advice from people who've done that. How many times do we have people giving us advice that aren't qualified? Go to the experts. One of the things that I'm known for across the world is when I need to know something, is go to the best in the world. I mean, if you want to learn something, do they have that thing? I think they call it Chinese whispers, where after you whisper it a couple times, it's a totally different message. Go to the source. When you want to learn something, go to the source. That's where you find out the real information. Don't listen to all those people, the crabs in the bucket trying to bring you down. See, successful people, they want to lift you up. Successful people want to share with you what it is that they've done. But they're not going to seek you out. A lot of people say, well, I'll sit around and I'll wait for them to show up. How many times do these mentors show up in your life if you don't do something about it? Yeah, the big zero over there. They very rarely knock on your door. But who does knock on your door? Come on, you're not going to do that. You're not going to have that. Why are you even trying? Why are you even bothering? Come on out. They don't want to lose you. They love you. But it's up to you to find the people, the circumstances, the influences, the structures, the mentors that you have in your life. Seek out the experts. That's what you're doing here today. That's why you should be so proud of yourselves. I mean, you guys have been here for 4 days. 4 days. Stay on that path. Don't lose focus. When you go out into the real world, I mean, do most people sit in a personal development type seminar for 4 days? Very few. Make friends with each other. Be able to hold each other accountable. Form your mastermind groups. These are things that you want to do to help lift you up. Find experts, because this is what we do. I want you to spend just about a minute here and write down some beliefs that you think are holding you back. A disempowering or limiting belief. What do you think is holding you back from being extraordinary? Now, this isn't always fun to write down. Yourself, yeah. Go ahead and write it down. What's holding you back from breaking through that area, being that next level, that thing that you want? My husband, my wife, my family. What's holding you back? Maybe you didn't come from the right family. Maybe you didn't come from money. You're not tall enough. You're too old. You're too young. Now, this isn't always fun, but write down what's holding you back from being extraordinary. I want someone to share one of these things. Go ahead. Wait for the microphone, if you would, right up here. So what's one of your limiting beliefs? What's holding you back from being extraordinary?
Basically, I've just got my environment. That's one of.
Okay.
Been told it plays a big part, obviously, in your psychology and what's happening around you and all your energy.
Okay. We go into this. I don't have a lot of time. Maybe I'll show it to you real quickly. What I'll just share
Obviously
with you.
not here.
What's that?
Obviously not this environment.
Yeah. No. Well, this is the kind of environment that you want to be in. Now, do we have control over the environment that we place ourselves in? Yes or no? Yes. You do. So just coming to that acknowledgement, coming to that realization that I may not in this moment be in a supportive environment. For a lot of people, what's that going to do to them? What's that going to, like the moment they come to that realization, what's that do for a lot of people? Possibly, but for a lot of people, I don't have a good environment. Well, that's why I can't be. Well, my wife, my husband, my kids, the family, the part of town I live in, what my house looks like, all this. Well, that's why I'm not successful. And it's a very easy thing to point out to the environment and say it's because of them, because of that. But every time you point on to something outside of you that's holding you back, I want you to know you have 3 fingers pointing back at yourself, don't you? So you are pointing to the reason why you're not successful. You, right? So coming to that realization is a good thing. Yes, you realize that your environment's holding you back. So what does that open up for you? What does that open up to make new choices? What does that open up for new possibilities? See, there's something that drives our environments. There's something more important than looking on the outside for our results. When you begin to take 100% complete ownership for your results, you no longer blame it on the environment. You no longer blame it on the rain. You can take ownership and say, this is great. I thought that it was the environment holding me back, but I can rise above my environment. I can transcend my environment. I can be more, do more, have more than the people in my environment have. They might not support me in this moment, but that's okay. You know, the guy here said it the other day, and I'll never forget, I heard a guy named Robert Allen, very successful real estate investor about 10 years ago in the United States. He said, who wants to be rich? And I remember raising my hand. And he says, if you want to be rich, you've got to be willing to make a fool of yourself. You got to be willing to make a fool of yourself. You got to be willing to stand up in front of your family and your friends and have them all laugh at you and point at you and say, there he failed again. He lost all his money. He's so stupid. He'll never have it. And for me, I envisioned the girl that I liked in the 3rd grade, her saying, you'll never have it. Oh no. You know, and if you can face all of that, and if that's as bad as it's going to be, you're prepared now. You're prepared to accelerate yourself for success. So I want us to stop looking to reasons outside of ourselves why we don't have the answer, why we don't have the lifestyle, why we don't have the amount of money that we want, why we're not doing the career that we love. We can take ownership for that. See, I want you to know the 3 decisions that top entrepreneurs make in the face of adversity. What is adversity? Someone tell me what adversity is. Challenge. What else? Trials. No money. Lost all our money. Just broke up with our wife, our husband. Our business partner ran out with all our money. Adversity is when you face like an adverse opportunity, an adverse situation, when things are looking down. I want you to look up. See, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on all the problems with the environment? Or are you focusing on, wait a second, every single other person has had this where I come from. Maybe I can actually do this. Are you focusing on the past, the things that are constraining you from being successful? Or are you focusing on new opportunities, new ideas, new actions, new beliefs that are going to drive you into success? What are you focusing on? Where focus goes, let's hear it again. Where focus goes, that's right. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you're focusing on all the reasons why you don't have something, that's all you're going to experience. And all you're going to keep doing is bringing your past into your future. I don't have this. I don't have this. It's my environment. It's this. It's that. All I want you to do is to just get present into the present moment where you can realize this is what I want. Yeah, I might have no money, but I'm going to focus on this. This is the thing that I'm doing. This is what I want to create. There was a guy named Thomas Edison. You know him, the light bulb guy? You know, he had 100 years ago the same situation that happened with Richard Branson. By the way, did anybody see me at the Richard Branson event just about a month ago? You saw me speak over there? Okay, fantastic. And I'll never forget, 2 months ago, Richard Branson on his island had his house burned down, the great house. Did you guys know that? His island, yeah, his house burned down. He runs out naked, by the way. He runs out and makes sure his wife is okay and his mom is okay and his kids are okay. And then he says, all right, everybody, let's watch this baby burn because we're never going to see this again. 100 years ago, Thomas Edison's science lab burnt down. And Thomas Edison, 100 years ago, does the exact same thing. Where's my family? Where are my people? All right, let's watch this laboratory burn down. And then he said, this is great. This is exactly what Richard Branson said. Richard Branson said, this is wonderful. Now we can build a bigger house, a better house, and we can make it more technologically advanced and have all these things. Now listen, Richard Branson has a little bit more money than Thomas Edison had back then. But Thomas Edison was truly, truly, truly known for one thing, and that wasn't being a great inventor, though he holds more patents than anyone else in the world. Does anybody know what he was known for, like being greatness for? Persistence and being an amazing entrepreneur. He looked at an opportunity, and here's what happened. His house burned down, he said, or his science lab burned down. He said, let's watch this thing burn. All right. Then he said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a laboratory that has this and does this, and I want you to start doing this, and I want you to start doing this. And what he's really known for, he goes, all right, now we just have to find a way to pay for it. And he got busy figuring out a way to pay for it. He was amazing at inspiring other people to his ways of thinking, inspiring other people to hand him money for his ideas, for his opportunities. Do you think that's a lot different than most people focus on, yes or no? Yes. You control your focus. You might as well focus on things that empower you rather than disempower you. What does it mean? I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up with this family. It means that I'm never going to be that successful. It means I'll never have my own business. It means, well, why would you create that meaning? The opportunity, the experience, the words, they have no inherent meaning. We're making up the meaning for ourselves. That environment, what that means is that I will no longer stand for this. It means that I don't have to go down that path because I'm going to do something differently. It means that I don't care what they think. It means that I'm going to be successful in spite of their beliefs about me. It means that regardless of what everybody else is doing, I'm going to march to the beat of my own drum. You know, entrepreneurship in the Yes movie, when you guys see it, there's a guy in there, he said, entrepreneurs are like eagles. They're either soaring with other eagles, or how else does an eagle soar? By themselves. That's just how it is. And then Del Toro McNeil in the Yes movie, he says, you might have some chicken surroundings right now, but if you want to be an eagle, you can't hang out with turkeys. You just can't hang out with the turkeys. You got to find other eagles to hang out with. Create your environment. And then finally, what are you going to do about it? Your partner ran off with you. Your other businesses failed. Whatever it is that's holding you back from being successful. Here's my favorite saying. So what? Now what? Your house burnt down. What are you going to do about it? We're going to build a better house. Now we better figure out how are we going to get the money. Say yes and figure out how you're going to do it later. That's why I called my film the Yes Movie, because I found that the greatest things in life happen when you say the word yes. Have you guys found that? Yes. Yes. I mean, seriously. When you say yes to the things that you want, you get more. Here's 3 beliefs of top entrepreneurs in unresourceful situations. First is that it must change now. Next is that I must change it now. And then finally, I can change it now. When do the top people take action? Now. When? Now. That's it. Not tomorrow. I used to work for Tony Robbins. So I'll tell you a quick story. Anybody hear that guy, Tony Robbins? Motivational guru. After 3 years with this company, working in the United States for this telecommunications company, a year in management, I realized that my passion in life wasn't so much managing telecommunications salespeople. I wanted to help people be successful in life. I wanted to help them find their own passion so they could do the thing that they love, so they can set up life on their own terms, so they can win. So I thought, well, who else is doing that out there? I guess there's that Tony Robbins guy. I went to work for Tony, and then shortly after that, I went to work for a gentleman by the name of Tom Hopkins. Tom is a sales trainer. He's worked for over the last 40 years. He's like the grandfather of sales training, and he's authored over 50 books on sales training. So what Tony used to tell us is never leave the sight of setting a goal without setting one step, without taking one step toward its attainment. Anytime you have an idea, anytime you set a goal, anytime you have a plan, never leave. Don't get up until you do one thing. That might be scheduling it. That might be making a phone call. That might be reaching out to someone and sharing your idea. Do one thing. Why do you think Tony was so persistent about getting us to start taking action? Why do you think? Action equals results. It begins momentum. Once you start taking that first action, it makes the second action a lot easier. Who here, I was telling you that I was cold calling before. Who here has cold called before? Okay, when you first started, was it the easiest thing ever? Nervous as anything. But after a while, doesn't it become easy after a while? Of course it does. I love it. Do you guys ever see a little child on like a mother or a father's leg, and like they're walking around like that, like they're sitting on the leg, holding on, like in a supermarket or a store or something? You ever see that little child like let go of the leg? What does that little child do? You ever see it like wandering around by itself, like a little 2 or 3 or 4-year-old? You ever see it walk around in this store somewhere? And you ever see it like freak out, something happens? What does it do? It runs all the way back to that leg until it gets comfortable, walking around again. And then it starts to wander off a little bit more, doesn't it? And what happens this time? It goes a little bit further, doesn't it? It goes a little bit further until they freak out. And then what do? Back to the leg. And then the next thing you know, they're walking out here. They're all over the place. They're turning aisles. They're turning around. And then ultimately, they run back to that leg. What's my point? My point is, the more you put yourself in that uncomfortable position, the more comfortable it becomes. Have you guys realized that before? Yes. Have you experienced that before? That's where I want to get you to a place in your business where you are like face on. You're inviting opportunities and circumstances that are going to force you to grow. They're going to make you grow. That's what sitting in a 4-day program like this is all about. That's what when you leave this program and you start taking new actions. At the end of this training, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to invite you guys to come to one of my programs, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to force you to grow mentally, emotionally, in terms of how you wake up every single day and address your business and your life. I want to get you to a place that I can change it now. I am changing it now. I want you to turn your biggest fear in entrepreneurship into freedom. So how do we do that? You're telling me my biggest fear is to do something differently? Yes, I am. I want to give you the strategies how to do that. But first, I want you to get real present. What is your greatest fear? What has it gotten you? And why be free of it now? I want you to write that down. What is your greatest fear in business? What has it gotten you? Maybe I'll lose my money. Maybe I'll lose my friends. Maybe I'll lose my life. If I try it again, I might fail. I might look silly. Who wants to share their greatest fear in entrepreneurship? This isn't always fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Michael. My greatest fear is basically of failure and not being able to provide for my family, failing from the business.
Yeah. So Michael is focusing on if he fails, right?
Yes.
Listen, most people do. Well, here's this great opportunity, Michael. Bam, opportunity. Hold on a second. What if I fail? What if you succeed? And what's that?
That's what I've got to focus on,
That's
success.
what you got to focus on. Oh,
Yes.
My job's done here. So that's the important thing. Here's what I want us to understand is that we all have a default way of being. We all have certain patterns that we run in our life. So an opportunity happens. Maybe one of Michael's patterns that he has is, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if I can't feed my kids? What if my wife leaves me? What if it's not going to work out and I can't afford to pay for the house and this and that? Where focus goes, where you focus on expands and becomes your reality. And what you keep focusing on becomes what you live every single day. Oh, what if I lose? What if I lose? What if I fail? What you should be focusing on, what if I win? Then what would I do? What if I do even better? What if I do this? Because has anybody here raced cars legally? Who here races cars? Anybody? Who does it illegally? All right. Have you ever been driving and you drive your car and then like all of a sudden you skid out? What are you supposed to do so you don't hit that wall? What's that? Turn the direction. You're actually supposed to turn the direction that you want to go in. Right? You're supposed to turn in the direction and you're supposed to accelerate. You're supposed to accelerate into the direction that you want to go in. But what does nature tell us to do? Stop! Stare at the wall that we're going into. We have to do that thing that is uncomfortable, but the more we do it, it becomes comfortable. So for you, maybe it's not go spend every cent that you have, into your business, but maybe it's taking one more step, doing one more thing into this business where what's not natural for us is what we have to do. So when I say an opportunity comes up and you think about, well, what's great about this? What's it going to do for me? What if I do win? What can I have? Then what will it open up for me? You need to catch yourself. You need to start focusing on this. And for you, Michael, like when you catch yourself, give yourself at least equal time. What if I do win? What if it does work? What if I do get the results that I want? Because if you begin focusing on that, what do you think that would do for you?
Positive and give me success.
Yeah, it would probably start you in the process of taking more actions. Because if you keep doing what you've always done, chances are you're going to keep having what you've always had. If you want new results, you're going to have to do something differently. And in order to do something differently, you're going to have to believe something differently. So either you're just going to have to step into it, or you're going to have to wait for someone to kick you into it. Now, a lot of us, we are motivated by the pain. There's the carrot or the stick. The carrot is what we're going for. The stick is something that whacks us in the butt. So hopefully you don't get whacked in the bum too hard and you can be motivated by that carrot, by that opportunity. Because unless we do something differently, our results will never change. So what I want us to do is to get really, really present about what's been holding us back. And I want to give you the top producer formula. It's a real simple formula, and it works for the success of everything. Step one is figure out what you want. What do you want? It's amazing because I travel the world and people pay me a lot of money to coach them. And I'll say, well, what do you want? And then they just sit there looking at me. I don't know. First step is figure out what you want. The second step is get up off your bum and do something about it. You don't have to know what you're going to do. You just have to do something. Doing something is better than doing nothing. Because if you keep doing nothing about it, nothing will ever change. And you're going to wait for a circumstance on the outside to change before you change your circumstance. You on the inside have to make a decision that I'm going to do something about it. Now, you might do the right thing. If you did, congratulations. Or you might do the wrong thing. If you did the wrong thing, congratulations, because you got a result that you didn't want, and now you can measure that result. So step one, what do you want? Step two, do something about it. Step three, figure out, did I get the result that I want? Did I get the result that I want? If you did, keep doing it. Step four, if you didn't get what you wanted, just do something differently. And then you go back to step three. Did I get what I want? If I did, keep doing it. If you didn't, do something differently. And then you keep doing something differently until you get what you want. For most of you, your measuring stick is too short. Well, I tried investing in property. I tried my own business. I tried selling this, and it just didn't work for me. Well, the game's not over. Your measuring stick is too short. That's the top producer formula. You see, I want to help you get anything that you want. And I want to help you get clear on what you want. See, there's types of people out there. There's those that make it happen. There's those that watch it happen. And there's those that say, what happened? Which one are you? Which one? Are you making it happen? That means you're getting up. You're doing things. You're being the cause of the results in your life. You're not being reactive. You're being proactive. So what new actions do you desire to take right now? I want you to write down at least one new action. What is something new that as a result of the last 60 minutes with me that you desire to do differently now? What is one thing that you know would help you in your business, in your career, with your finances? Who wants to share one new action that they'd like to take?
Hi, I'm Sonia. And I hate cold calling, and that's why I stopped it. But now I realized that's super important for my business, and I have started again, but this time I will outsource it.
Ooh, beautiful. Let's give a round of applause. And that's one of the things that we teach at our Auto Domination Workshop. That's our 3-day program, that if there's something in your business that you have to do, and quite frankly, you don't want to do it, it has to get done, but you don't have to do it. You could hire a salesperson. Heck, you don't have any money? Hire someone on commission only. They don't get paid until they sell. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's one of the things that I want us to start to realize, that we can start getting the things done that need to happen. We just have to look at things a little bit differently. She was smart enough to realize that she realizes that in her business, this must get done, but she just doesn't want to do it. And that's okay. I heard this about 12 years ago, and I never really understood it just till about a few years ago, because I live it now. And it was, the less and less I do in my business, the more money I make. Now I'm going to repeat that. The less and less I do in my business, the more money I make. Anybody have any idea why that might be true? Why might that be true? Yeah, what he said is you have more time on your hands to do things that are useful. It's about doing the right things. It's about figuring out where your time is most effectively spent. The most successful people in business, they set up systems. So the systems work, so they don't have to. They have people, they have technology in place that work so they don't have to. If you're still trying to do all the little things, the minor things in your business, you're not going to have time to focus on the major things. I want you to act as if. Act as if the things that you know that you want to do are already done. What if you went into that next presentation acting as if the person wanted to do business with you? What if you acted as if that the opportunity that you had was the perfect opportunity that someone's looking for? Might that help you in your presentations, yes or no? Yes. Of course it would. Act as if you have the best product or the best service in the world. Speak to people as if you want to serve them and help them. Because if you begin to act a certain way, soon you're going to become the way you act. The problem is, for a lot of us, is that we're acting in a way that doesn't serve us. We're acting in a way that our clients don't want to entrust us with more business. Do you guys see how that could be powerful? Start acting in a way that you want to become. It's time to move forward fast. The clock is ticking here. I heard the guy say it yesterday. He said, fail forward. I say fail forward fast. Make as many mistakes in your business as possible, but only make them once. Make them now when the chips aren't so tall. Make them now when the consequences aren't so big. Go out there and have as many experiences so you can learn from them, so you can grow from them. They're not failures. They're merely feedback. It's merely results that you can say, yeah, I just learned that I don't do something that way, and I can now do it this way.